Afternoon or morning or whenever you are seeing this. My name is Montgomery and I am a part of the team Fast Finances. Now, we're starting immediately with the program as there's not been much updating since the Sprint 3 on documentation because we had caught up to Sprint 4. There are a couple loose ends that we are tidying up this week, but most of it's just been software changes that we have been revising and manipulating and trying to make work all the way through and through. So, this is what today's presentation is going to be really talking about what we've really been doing. So, let's get logged in. As you can see, I'm using Vaughn's credentials because we are still logging into the admin side. Now, the reason why we're doing this is because we can move everything around, but we're still working out a bunch of these functions down here. And so instead of having to manually shift and fix bug fixes, because it's essentially going to be the exact version of code that's just going to be stripped down and changed just ever so slightly to fit within the specified parameters of the requirements. We're waiting to do that until probably this weekend, just before Sprint 5 is supposed to be prepped and due, because we've also been working on some of Sprint 5 things. So, just to get started, some of the big touches we've done is under charts of accounts. We've made everything show correctly. Now, there may be some erroneous data in here because we have been doing a lot of testing, or more so, I have. But as you can see, everything comes and shows you exactly. You can see some of my data that I have fictitiously added. Um, and if you do notice, there are toggle JSON functions. This is just purely for testing. They will be removed in the final product. The cache works the same way, or the button for the account names. Again, some more erroneous data down there. And so all of this currently is working just fine. Um, we can do everything, edit anything, and it's no issues here. We can go back to the home. And so another thing that we touched on was the event log. Now, you wanted uh, before and after images. And so we've split tables into what has changed, what has not changed, what does it look like, what's happening, what's going on. And so, um, as you can see, me testing right here, the comments were test whenever I denied these. And here's one that I went through and approved. And, just showing everything. Again, there's a raw JSON tab here just to show all the data, just so we can double check and verify that everything is correctly working. We're going to go now to the journal. These are just things we're touching on that we've been working on. We've gotten all of these working as needed, showing you exactly what's going on. You can search, and it shows you everything for a particular one. Um, we can do accounts, amounts, journal pages, the whole 9 yards. You can actually sort between them. So I just want to see the ones for 404 or April 4th, and I can hit filter, and guess what? They're all there. They all work. We can reset and go back to normal. All of these pages are scrollable just fine and dandy, and there's two hands here. And then we're going to go to our all entries function. Now, the way we have it sorted, this is all entries. Shows them in the order of what we received them as. You can come through, you can look at approved. Ones that are highlighted differently are adjusting. Pending, we don't have any pending right now. Rejected, with the comments telling you, hey, test, wrong, no. These were getting some other things worked out. And then here's the adjusting. The pending will also show, pending adjusting ones will show here. And the rest of them, I still need to add tabs for closing and I believe it's reversing, if I remember right. And that's another thing we're going to go into. So, did a little changing. Here, we can see we have different types. You can add as many debits as you want, and then you can continue to add more. Or you can add your credit and then you can add your debit. You can also add your description, whatever you want, and it will submit. Real quick, I will show you that. So, for instance, we're going to go cash. We're going to go 122, so it sticks out to me. You see it won't let me select another cash account now. Make sure that it's balanced. And this is a test. We'll hit create. Goes through. Perfect. I can come here to pending. I can approve or deny. Hit view. In the description, it shows as a test. Shows me it doesn't have a journal page because it's not submitted. It's not approved. But if I come here and I do approve it, and I go back, scroll to the bottom because that's where the new ones are. It tells me, hey, my journal page is 4. And that's a function I do need to adjust, but it does show in the page 4 like it's supposed to. Another thing that that we've done for Sprint 4 is going to be trial balance, income, balance sheet, retained earnings, that whole 9 yards. Now, Vaughn did get back with me and tell me that I have to do some adjustment, which is fine. So I'm going to do some more of that work and adjustment. Right now we can sort between days for this, which there is no dates added, so I will add an updated date function. We can also print. We can print this. We can print all reports, which will show every report. It ain't loading right, but it does work. We've tried saving them as PDFs. Here's our income statement. Everything is worked out to the correct value. Now, I do know that some of these values need to be moved around to show correctly, especially in this tab. I know accumulated depreciation needs to be here and subtracting, and it needs to be moved to the debt side. And so my value is a little high. So I think it's like $500 high. Again, this JSON, toggle the raw JSON button. That's just purely for testing. And then we have our returned earnings. And so this is some of the feedback that you gave us, was talking about the add, the less, and the proper formatting. And as far as this page go, I believe that we're okay with this. As you can see, here's the one that we're looking at right here. When you go to print, you can also just hit print current. And for some reason it links the same way, but again, I'll fix that. It's not the end of the world. As far as all of that goes, we have been working more about how to interconnect and how everything should be seamed up together. A lot of this is just working within the functions and everything of that sort. And us just really just trying to work through the nitty-gritty type things. And that's basically where we're at for the current moment. As you can see, everything loops around. The intention for Sprint 5 is to actually move these buttons down and move them out over here, shrink them, and put like a pie chart explaining where the money's flowing, where it's going, and everything else of that sort, and then adding a notification center that also flags managers. Now, that's the other thing. I understand that admins aren't supposed to have some of these features and functions. We're just doing this temporarily so we don't have to keep chasing our tail on every single page, because then it'll be 3 files that you have to update versus 1. And if you make 1 master, then you can make 2 slave copies and so on. So we're just kind of working from this angle for the moment. And as that sits, that's basically where we're caught up to. We have most of Sprint 4 caught up. The only thing we're majorly lacking is the attach files function, which we are actively working on figuring out. And this is part of the process, because we figured to save files, you could also submit them through. So with that being said, I believe that's everything that we've really touched on, besides all the filtering and all that sort. With that, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next week.